The title of this video might be a slightly clickbait, as Game of Thrones is full of epic, emotional, shocking, funny, and heart-wrenching scenes. However, today I wanted to analyze a scene that many of you might have overlooked in the whole jungle of moments, but is in my opinion a perfect example of a building scene with a simple means. It is a scene from episode 8, fittingly named by a YouTuber user as Sir Barristan Selmy quits like a boss. The scene begins with a Sansa Stark entering the main hall. In the background, we can hear Grandmaster Pycelle reading the Will of Council aloud.
It is also the wish of His Grace.
Sansa walks from left to the right in the front of camera, and here we get a cut to the face of an extra, with a Sansa passing in the foreground. Notice how all extras are eyeing her, and this one even intentionally refused to let her pass. From a narrative point of view, this is very important, as Sansa is a daughter of Ned Stark, who due to the events of the previous episode was accused of treason. The echo of Grandmaster Pycelle reading of the will of the council and King Joffrey continues to reverberate through the throne room. Tywin Lannister, whom we've heard so much about as an important figure, and who later proves to be exactly that, is appointed Hand of the King. Meanwhile, General Slint, commander of the City Watch, is named Lord of Harrenhal. Remember that in a previous episode, Slint betrayed Ned Stark, promising him the loyalty of the City Watch to prevent the Lannisters from taking power, only to stab Stark in the back, literally. Pay attention to the editing. When guiding the actor's grace, Sansa looks at Cersei and later at Joffrey. These shots are not drawn out, but they also don't feel like quick jumps. We also get a portrait shots of characters significant to the scene. King Joffrey, his mother Cersei, who at this stage of the story is the real power, Pycelle reading the grace, Varys and Littlefinger, both key players, and the individuals affected by the degree. Pycelle mentions that the priority is now ensuring Joffrey's safety. At this moment, Cersei takes the initiative and summons Barristan Selmy.
Sir Barristan Selmy.
Your Grace, I am yours to command.
Barristan Selmy has so far been presented to the audience as an honorable, respected knight, and the greatest swordsman in Westeros.
My father once told me you were the best he'd ever seen.
Here, Barristan kneels and swears loyalty. However, Cersei tells him it is time for him to retire and look back with pride on his years of service. A brief silence in the dialogue follows, but we hear the murmurs and whispers of shocked townspeople witnessing the event. Barristan immediately counters Cersei's words, saying the King's Guard is a sworn brotherhood, taking that only death releases them of the sacred trust. To which Cersei responds with a question: whose death, his or his king? Joffrey immediately adds that Barristan failed to protect his father and is too old to protect anyone. This, of course, has a deeper meaning, as the king was killed by a poisoned wine served by his Lannister squire, and the fact that this old knight is still alive is not due to luck. It's because no one has been able to kill him. Later in the series, Tywin innately sums Cersei's actions here.
Dismissing him was as insulting as it was stupid.
Barristan still tries to respond respectfully to the decision, but the Cersei cuts him off, announcing that Jaime Lannister will take his place. This of course reeks of nepotism and placing family members in power, without mentioning the not so small detail that Jaime is Joffrey's real father. Barristan finds it outrageous that someone who killed the previous king he had sworn to protect is now being appointed in his place. He subtly challenges the council, at which point Varys steps in trying to calm the situation, but Barristan refuses to be manipulated. He wants to die a knight's death.
I am a knight. I shall die a knight.
So he throws down his uniform. I love Varys' reaction. We hear only the sound of gloves being removed, a cape being thrown down, and armors cleaning onto the ground. The silence builds tension. A crucial shot focuses on Slint, with Barristan's hand in the foreground. At this moment, Littlefinger, unable to resist, makes a joke.
A naked knight, apparently.
The crowd erupts in laughter. Shots of extras, another edit focusing on Sansa's shifting gaze, a wide shot reveals the humiliated Barristan, a grinning Slint becomes the trigger for Barristan drawing his sword. The laughter instantly stops, and we hear only the sound of blades being unshaded. Barristan's reactions is even more powerful because he is mocked by a man who deceived Ned Stark and slaughtered his men, earning a reward for it, while Barristan, as an honorable knight, is being disgraced. This perfect aligns with the Game of Thrones theme. Again we see Slint, this time through the blades of Barristan's swords. A wide shot follows, then a close-up of the royal council. My favorite small detail is Sandor Clegane, the Hound, preparing to draw his sword, even though 5 other knights stands between him and Barristan. This really helps showcase Barristan's reputation and skill. This scene is brilliantly built and shot. We get portrayed shots of key characters, perspective shifts during conversations, a wide shots that change rather than break the tension, adding broader context. Subtle acting, well-timed pauses, and eye movements give the editing its rhythm. Thanks to these techniques, even Sophia Turner delivers a solid performance. After this scene, Barristan definitely leaves an impression, despite his relatively short screen time. And then when he returns 2 seasons later to serve Daenerys, I literally stood up and applauded. A great script and simply yet highly effective cinematic techniques are why Game of Thrones is such an outstanding show.